Before I start, I want to say up front, any clip I play, I don't own the rights to this content. It's for educational purposes only. Let's start off, because I didn't get the chance to talk about this. Let's talk about the Regis Prograis Jojo Diaz fight. I thought this was a fight to get Regis Prograis back on track. You know, the last three fights against Garcia, against Catterall, against Devin Haney, he faced movers and he had difficulties with the movers. Jojo Diaz doesn't move as much. Jojo Diaz is not a big puncher. He has quick hands, but he's not a big puncher. And he's not a legit 140-pounder. Also, in his last fight, he got stopped by Duarte. Duarte stopped him. So I thought Regis Prograis, this would be a good chance for Regis Prograis to get back on track. I picked him to stop Jojo Diaz. But this fight confirmed to me that Regis Prograis is done. His punch resistance. Jojo Diaz wobbled him like 3 or 4 times in the fight. And like I said, Jojo Diaz is not a big puncher. And it seems like his punches didn't have that much effect on Jojo Diaz. So to me, even though Regis Prograis won the fight, I think Regis Prograis is on his way out. If he faces a Matias or Antoine Russell, they will stop him. I don't see Regis Prograis beat any champions at 140. With that being said, congrats on the win, Regis Prograis. It looks like the PBC and Golden Boy are uniting to make a card in October. I'm thinking, knowing the PBC and Golden Boy, this is gonna be a pay-per-view card. But allegedly, this card's supposed to have Ortiz Jr. versus Keith Thurman as the main event, and Barbosa versus Frank Martin as a co-main. First of all, the boxing public is not going to pay $80 to watch Keith Thurman versus Ortiz Jr. and Barbosa and Frank Martin. Second, I don't believe Keith Thurman is going to take this fight. You know, first Keith Thurman brought up Vergil Ortiz, Duran Boots Ennis, Teofimo. He said he'd take those contracts. Now Thurman dreaming about fighting Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, 2 fights he knows are not going to be made. First of all, Terrence Crawford, obviously everybody knows in the boxing world, is fighting Canelo, and Errol Spence is now Old McDonald had a farm. Spence is now a farmer, and if Spence came back, I think the last person he would fight is Keith Thurman. He despises Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman ducked him at 147. I think if Errol Spence came back, he's looking for the big money fight, Vergil Ortiz in Dallas, Texas. Besides that, in my opinion, the reason Keith Thurman wants to fight these guys now, or he's saying he wants to fight these guys now, is he's running out of money. And he's going to want a lot of money to fight Vergil Ortiz. But the thing I don't get is, if he wanted a lot of money, why did he turn down the Sheik's offer? In my opinion, and I have no proof of this, in my opinion, the Sheik's offer was Bakram, and Keith Thurman was not looking for that smoke. And I do not think he's looking for that Vergil Ortiz Jr. smoke as well. But we'll see what happens. I doubt Keith Thurman will take this fight. He claiming he wants the smoke, but I think Keith Thurman wants the money without the smoke. As usual, Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia are not seeing eye to eye. Oscar De La Hoya wants Garcia versus Teofimo, while King Ryan wants out of Golden Boy and he wants a rematch with Rolly Romero. According to Ryan Garcia, he has one more fight with Golden Boy and then he's a free agent. The problem is, who is going to sign Ryan Garcia? Also, Ryan Garcia says, and he took it back, he said he was trolling, but earlier he said he wants $20 million on his next fight after losing to Rolly Romero. 3 or 4 years ago, I thought Ryan Garcia could possibly be the next face of boxing. He had the looks, had the popularity, and I thought if he focused on his craft, he could possibly be the next Oscar De La Hoya. As far as popularity goes, the next Golden Boy. But I thought Rolly Romero was the worst boxer in the world. But he can't be, because he beat Ryan Garcia, which makes him the worst boxer in the world. Now, I don't want to see Ryan Garcia against Teo right now. I think Teo beats him hands down. The only thing Ryan Garcia has is the left hook because he's still underdeveloped. Well, let me change that. If he gets a hold of some Osirine again, maybe he could beat Teofimo. But with all that being said, if he happens to get the rematch with Rolly, Ryan Garcia can become a world champion if he beats Rolly. What is really crazy, Rolly is a 2-division champion, and if he beats Mario Barrios, he could become a unified champion at 147. This is why I say boxing is the theater of the unexpected. Who would ever think that Rolly would be a 2-division champion and to top it off, has a chance to be a unified champion at 147? I thought it would never see the day that would happen. If I had to pick out of the 2 fights I want to see Ryan in, first of all, I don't really care to see Ryan right now until he starts taking boxing serious. But if I had a choice, Ryan Garcia against Teofimo or Ryan Garcia against Rolly rematch, it would be the rematch, not on pay-per-view. I'm not interested in spending $80 on Rolly and Ryan
for beating Terrence Crawford.
That's the problem, right? It's a one-way street. I would give Terrence a ton of credit for beating Canelo, but no, not the other way around. Canelo's got a hard time even calling for the fight. You think Canelo likes getting called out by this smaller guy and turning down a big money fight? He hates that, but you can't call out the littler guy. You can't tell a dude, come up here and spot me 30 pounds. By the way, I failed drug tests and you've never failed drug tests. I mean, you know how much different it is? You get a juiced up Canelo versus little skinny Terrence Crawford who's main.
Are we gonna relitigate Canelo Alvarez's drug test?
Come on. I'm a drug user. I cheated sport plenty of times. I cheated those same commissions. This is not to relitigate. We know our own. I'm a cheater. I know a cheater when I see one.
That was former UFC fighter Chael Sonnen calling out Canelo and says Canelo's still dirty. He's still taking PEDs. He says, I'm a cheater and I recognize a cheater, and Canelo's a cheater. Now, Canelo's not the only guy he called out. He called out LeBron James too. He thinks both of these guys are using and are cheaters. Not to say I believe what he's saying. You know, I believe if you pass the test, you're clean. That's just how I am. I'm not going to accuse anybody without proof. But with Chael Sonnen accused LeBron of using, everybody was cool with it. Now he points the finger at Canelo. Now people have a problem with it. It's a little pushback. And not just that, Crawford, who passed all his tests as far as VADA goes and PEDs, and people still accusing him of using. But you look on the other side, 6 or 7 fighters in Reynoso's camp pop dirty, and everybody's concentrating on Crawford and Snack. Shout out to Ring IQ. Maybe Ring IQ has a point. Maybe all the athletes are using. We're just naive, right? Maybe they're all using. So let me put my naive cap on for this fight. Canelo hasn't failed a test since that clenbuterol incident, and Terrence Crawford has never failed a PEDS test. So I'm going to say that's not going to be a factor in this fight. But with that being said, I will also say Ring IQ brings up a valid point. BZ Sports, I'm gone.